The following is a production of CUTV Sports.
And good evening from the Convocation Center in California, Pennsylvania, where the California Vulcans take on the Edinboro Fighting Scots. And welcome to another edition of CUTV Sports. Hello, I am Anthony D'Agostino, and alongside me is Damon Matson. And Damon, looking at the last few games that California's played, against Mercyhurst and against Slippery Rock, didn't end up winning. They kept it tight, but couldn't pull out. And the last game against Mercyhurst, they ended up losing by 1 point.
That's right. It was an exciting matchup against Mercyhurst this past Wednesday. They barely lost in the last second, 58-57. Khalil Jabi went 6 for 6 from the free throw line, and as well went 84.6% from the free throw line as well. And of course, Richard Smith missed that last second dunk as the Vulcans lost at the last second. Yeah,
heartbreaking loss for the Vulcans. On the other side, Edinboro had a coming out party against Seton Hill.
That's right. Edinboro had a dominant win over Seton Hill, winning 77-54. Will Morrow had a career-high 17 points. Edinboro's offense just went off in that game.
Yeah, they did. The last matchup between Cal and Edinboro was at the Macomb Fieldhouse in Edinboro.
Yeah, and it was a good win for the Vulcans, winning 69-63. Armand Marks for the Vulcans got his first career double-double with 22 points and 12 rebounds. And then, of course, for Edinboro, Wayne Chapman had 15 points, 7 rebounds, and went 4 for 5 from the free throw line.
Henry Wade Chapman, definitely one of the best players on Edinboro's roster. But for our players to watch, for California, it's Calvin Brown.
Brown had a big game against Mercyhurst. Even though it was a tough defeat, he did well on every aspect of his game. He had 3 blocks, 3 steals, 11 points, 9 rebounds, and 5 of 6 from the free throw line, as he had a huge game for the Vulcans.
Yeah, he really helped California stay in that game against Mercyhurst just on Wednesday. And for Edinboro, it's Jamin Mason.
Now, Jamin Mason, he's a big part of the offense for Edinboro, of course. In his last game, he was also very good in multiple aspects of his game. 11 points, 8 assists, 3 for 7 from three-point range against Seton Hill. So look for him to be a big part of Edinboro's offense today.
Yeah, and for California, you definitely want to close out on the three-point range for Jamin Mason. Will Edinboro beat California today, or will California be able to win the game after a little bit of a losing slump right now? Tip-off is next.
With 18 institutions, my conference is the largest league across all NCAA classifications. With nearly 7,000 student athletes competing in 23 championships, my conference sponsors the most championships in Division II. With a 78% academic success rate, my conference graduates student athletes well above the national average. We compete with passion. We take pride in our efforts in the arena and in the classroom. The Pennsylvania State Athletic Conference. Passion, pride, Pennsylvania.
We have so much to celebrate in Division II, but we're especially proud of our commitment to make a wish.
Division II student athletes have led a 10-year initiative to raise funds and help grant wishes of children with life-threatening medical conditions.
Nearly $3 million have been raised, and hundreds of children's wishes have been granted.
We play hard, we work hard, and we support others in need. Why? It's simple.
Because we care.
And welcome back to the Convocation Center in California, Pennsylvania, where the California Vulcans are taking on the Edinboro Fighting Scots. Hello, everyone. I'm Anthony D'Agostino, and alongside me is Damon Matson. And for the starting lineups for California, it's number 5, Jake Jakubik, and number 10, Drew Cook. Khalil Jabi, number 11, number 21, Richard Smith, and number 35, Calvin Brown. And Damon, tail of the tape.
Before we take a look at Edinboro Stars, looking at the tail of the tape between these two teams, you see here both of them average just about the same amount of points per game, 71 for the Vulcans, just about 77 for the Fighting Scots. So expect a close one. And both of them pretty decent from three-point range as well. Almost 39% for the Fighting Scots and about 34% for the Vulcans. And another thing, though, the Vulcans' big part of their game is the steals, averaging about 2 more than the Fighting Scots. So if they want to win this game, I assume that the steals are going to be a big part of it today.
Yeah, steals are really important. Getting that defensive stand and then getting down the court to be able to take those shots and get some more points. For the starting lineup for Edinboro, it's going to be number 2, Henry Wade Chapman, number 3, Will Morrow, number 4, Casey Baker, number 5, Jamin Mason, and number 40, Sam Sealy James.
And as we go on out here to start this game, I'm just going to be interested to see, are the Vulcans going to come out after that loss that they took on Wednesday? It was a tough defeat. I know it was pretty heartbreaking for the Vulcans. I saw that on their faces at the end of the game, but can they come out with a lot of intensity, maybe a little bit of a chip on their shoulder after that loss, and maybe get some points up on the board here early against Edinboro and get off on the right foot?
Yeah, definitely. And for the tip-off, it's going to be for Edinboro, Sam Sealy James, and number 35, not Calvin Brown, but Richard Smith, actually. And won by Edinboro to number 5, Jamin Mason. Mason over the half-court line. And he has it to Marrow. Marrow over to Wade Chapman. Chapman with it. Driving towards the net. Missed ball there by number 5, Jamin Mason. And he gives it right back to Wade Chapman. 14 on the shot clock. Chapman with it. Takes a shot and misses it off the rim. Rebounded, not rebounded, but it's going to be California ball as it goes out of bounds.
On that first sequence there, it looked like the Vulcans were trying to protect the net. They weren't letting Edinboro get down low as they had to force Wade Chapman to take that long shot and ended up in California possession.
Now Jake Jakubik with it to Richard Smith. Smith over to Jabi. Jabi holds, gives it to Drew Cook. Cook over to Jakubik, guarded by Chapman. Now he hands it to Jabi, who gives it to Drew Cook. Cook with it. He gives it to Jabi. Jabi driving and shooting, misses it off the rim, but rebounded by Richard Smith, who then gives it to Drew Cook, now to Jakubik. Jakubik with it, gives it to Jabi. Jabi holds and passes it to Richard Smith. Richard Smith with the jumper, misses off the rim, rebounded by number 4, Casey Baker for Edinboro.
So a couple of missed shots on both ends of the ball for these two teams. It looks like the pace of play is a little bit slow, trying to figure each other out right now, and so far we don't have any points.
And a traveling call is going to go up against Will Marrow. It's going to be Vulcan ball after that turnover. And Jakubik throwing it in.
Oh, I'm sorry. And so far, yeah, you're right. We'll see as well as we go along here if the pace of play picks up and if it gets a little bit gritty. The Vulcans like to play that gritty style, especially on defense.
Smith with it over to Drew Cook. Cook to Brown. Brown looking to go to the rim, shoots it, and gets the height advantage and gets it in the net.
Good job by Brown right there, just forcing his way underneath the basket, putting in the layup, and getting the first 2 points here for the Vulcans.
Great job by Brown getting the first 2 points on the board. Now with Edinboro, it's Mason, who gives it to Morrow. Morrow over to Chapman. Chapman driving to the rim, goes, shoots the ball, misses off the rim, but rebounded there by number 4, Baker, and he gets the 2 points.
That was an interesting play right there. Chapman missed the layup attempt, but Edinboro was able to recover and get the layup to fall.
And Javi almost lost it there, but was able to get to Drew Cook. Now Jakubik with it, over to Smith. Smith trying to find the lane, passes it over to Jakubik. Jakubik over to Smith, trying for the alley-oop dunk. Didn't get a chance there because Sam Sealy James was there to block the ball.
And good coverage underneath there by Edinboro. Samuel Sealy James, very big body underneath the rim. He's about as tall as Calvin Brown is. Those two are pretty equal in height, so interesting matchup to watch.
Javi to the rim, kisses it off the backboard for 2 points. Now it's going to be Mason. Mason with it, and he has it to Marrow. Now Marrow over to Baker, who gives it to Chapman, back to Baker. And he throws it out of bounds there. It's going to be California ball.
That was an interesting play right there. I don't know where Casey Baker was trying to throw that pass to. It seemed like the Vulcans were pressuring him very well, trying to get it out to the perimeter once again, but nobody home, and that'll cause a turnover here.
Yes, sir. Jabby with it, trying to get past Will Merrow. Over to Smith. Smith passes to Drew Cook. Drew Cook with it, gives it to Jackie Bick. Jackie Bick holding. And he hands it off to Drew Cook. Drew Cook trying to drive to the rim, and he couldn't get anywhere. It's going to be called for a travel on that one.
Tough play there for Drew Cook. He was trying to cut into the net, and two big bodies for Edinboro right there in his way as he fell down trying to get to the basket. They're going to call the travel on that one this time as Edinboro brings it back up the court.
Baker with it. Over to Chapman. Chapman over to Mason. Mason for three. Misses that one. Rebounded, though, by Baker. Baker misses that one. He gets his own rebound. Kicks it back to Chapman for three. And makes it. 3 points for Chapman.
Good defense by the Vulcans underneath there. Casey Baker just getting the ball out. Open three look for Edinboro, and they sink it.
Now Drew Cook with it. Cook over to Brown. Brown with a jumper. Misses that one off the rim. Trying to rebound it to Smith. And he gets saved. Brown with it now. Jackie Bick, Jabby. Jabby driving to the rim. Misses the alley-oop on that one with Richard Smith. Now coming down the court, Merrow. Merrow over to Chapman. Chapman for two. And he misses that one. Rebounded by Brown, who gives it to Jackie Bick. Jackie Bick now with it. Jackie Bick driving to the rim. Trying to give it to Smith, and he just couldn't get that pass away. Now back, it's Merrow. And Will Merrow just errant pass to Chapman there. It's going to be California Vulcans ball. And we have reached our first media timeout with 15:38 to go in the first half. Score Edinboro 5, California 4.
And so far it seems like you saw the pace of play. It picked up right there, Anthony. As you can see, it was going up and down the court, and both teams not really able to sink any points on that one. But I don't know, as we go along, I think that the pace of play, if it's faster, the Vulcans might play that to their advantage, it seems like.
Well, the pace of game definitely changed during the Mercyhurst game, and here you see the team leaders, scoring. Jabby, and Jabby's all over there with Smith.
That's right, and you can see Khalil Jabby leading in scoring and assists, so he definitely is the main catalyst, if you will, on that offense for the Vulcans. And then, of course, all the rest of them go to Smith. And then taking a look at Edinboro right there, Wade Chapman, the big man down low, a big part of their offense, leading in scoring, assists, and minutes on the floor. And, of course, Baker also playing a factor with rebounding and steals, so he seems to be more of a defensive style of player for Edinboro.
Yeah, Baker getting those steals and throw it down the court to Wade Chapman or Jamin Mason, our player to watch. Now, as we were saying, the speed of play has definitely gone faster. And as I was saying earlier before the team leaders, against Mercyhurst, the speed of play was fast the entire game. And California was able to stay with it, though. So
They were, absolutely, and the Vulcans were able to actually come back in that game, if you remember. It was a very big comeback for the Vulcans, and they almost were able to get that win, but you're right, when the pace of play picks up, though, it favors the Vulcans, definitely.
Jabby now with it. Guarded by Merrow. He hands it off to Smith. Smith to Brown. Brown inside, going for two. He's going to get called for a foul, and that's Sam Sealy-James there.
As we take a look, Calvin Brown going to the free throw line for the first time today. He's just a little bit over 68% from the free throw line this year. And we'll see if free throws play a big factor as well in this game here today.
Calvin Brown takes his first shot. Misses that one in and out of the rim.
And of course, Calvin Brown already has a layup in this game, has the 2 points for the Vulcans as he looks to try to tie this one up right here if he can get this one to fall.
Second shot up and good. Subbing in for California, it's going to be number 22, Tony Richardson, subbing in for Richard Smith. Edinboro with it. Jamin Mason with the ball. Mason with it. Goes to Chapman. Chapman for three. Drains that one, nothing but net. 3 points for Edinboro and Chapman.
And that's Chapman's second 3-point already of the game, 3-point shot as he gets that to fall.
Now Jabby with it. Over to Jakovic. Jakovic looking for someone to pass it to. Jakubic now double teamed. Loses the ball, picked up by Jabby. Jabby stolen away by Baker. Now it's Chapman. Chapman to Baker. Baker for two. Blocked. Blocked by Tony Richardson.
And the big man, Tony Richardson, coming in a big way. Comes off the bench in his first defensive stand as he gets that block right there. And of course, we don't have replay on our end today. It seems like we're having a little bit of technical difficulties, and we hope to have it back for you for the next game, but you at least did get to see that, hopefully, in real time.
What a block by Tony Richardson. Now Edinboro with the ball. It's Jamin Mason. Mason holds, and he gives it to Chapman. Chapman loses control of the ball, but picks it back up over to Baker. Now Baker over to Merrow. Merrow for two, and misses it off the rim, but Baker picks it up for Edinboro. Now it's to Chapman. Shot clock, it has restarted because it hit the rim. Mason over to Baker. Baker to Chapman. Chapman for two. Misses that off the rim, rebounded by Jabby. Jabby to Brown. Brown, and that one's gonna be a foul charge called against Calvin Brown.
Unfortunate call there as Brown was going just straight to the net as the Vulcans were trying to get that 2 points right there. But it seems like right now, Anthony, it seems that Edinboro able to get some turnovers off the Vulcans, and they're trying to find the open man, Wade Chapman. He seems to be getting open quite a bit.
Yeah, and he was our player to watch that first game against Edinboro. Yeah, he's definitely still is a force to be reckoned with on this Edinboro team. Wade Chapman with it to Baker. Baker loses it, stolen by Tony Richardson. Now Jabby with it. Jabby, there's going to be a foul called against Baker as he was called for the block.
Jabby going trying to cut in aggressively, get an open look, get an open pass in there. And speaking of Tony Richardson, he came in off the bench and he's played a big factor thus far with the blocks and the defense.
Jabby with it, and there's going to be another foul called. This one another block, this time called against Tommy Scales for Edinboro.
And it seems like right now Jabby using his speed just to try to cut towards the net. We're going to have a substitution here. It looks like we're going to have Jake Jakubic in for Drew Cook.
And Armand Marks with the ball now, inbounds it to Jabby. Jabby, looks like they're trying to double team Jabby. He's able to get it to Armand Marks, who gives it right back to Jabby. Jabby to Jakubic. Jakubic back to Jabby. Gives it to Armand Marks. 20 to shoot. Armand Marks driving, and there's going to be a travel there as he just shuffled his feet on that one.
Yeah, it seems he did shuffle his feet just a little bit. And right now, it looks like Edinboro's idea is to try to double team Jabby. He was the leading scorer for the Vulcans in the last couple of games. Actually, he might not have been the leading scorer, but he was definitely up there in points. And right now, that's what Edinboro's trying to do, is just shut him down and make the Vulcans try to use other options on the offensive side of the ball.
Definitely, they're also looking for turnovers there to see if Jabby can turn over the ball when he's double teamed. Now Scales with it. Who gives it to Merrow? Merrow back to Mason. And there's going to be a foul called off the ball. And it's going to be against 22 Tony Richardson for California.
I'm not quite sure what that one was on. He might have been blocking or screening one of Edinboro's players right there, but nonetheless, Edinboro retaining possession.
Quinley Yaw with that shot, taken away by Richard Smith. Now Jakubic with it. Jakubic for three, in and out. Oh, and an alley-oop by Tony Richard Smith, I'm sorry.
Unbelievable alley-oop right there. Jakubic had the ball go in and out. Richard Smith coming out of nowhere as he gets up to the basket and slams that one down for two for the Vulcans.
Merrow, Chapman. Chapman, guarded by Jabby. He gives it to Mason, who gives it to Scales. Scales over to Yaw. Yaw for two.
That time Yaw cut underneath, did a good job right there, laying up that for two for Edinboro.
Daniel Sapp with it, gives it to Jabby. Jabby back to Sapp. Sapp looking for somewhere to pass. Instead dribbles towards the rim, passes to Jabby, who gives it back to Sapp. Sapp there going for two, misses and Tony Richard Smith could not get that one to go for the alley-oop dunk.
And after the missed attempt right there, it looks like the Vulcans try to get that back. So we're going to get a timeout right here.
And this is going to be our second media timeout with 11:54 to go in the half. Edinboro leads us 10-7 against California.
We have so much to celebrate in Division II, but we're especially proud of our commitment to make a wish.
Division II student athletes have led a 10-year initiative to raise funds and help grant wishes of children with life-threatening medical conditions.
Nearly $3 million have been raised, and hundreds of children's wishes have been granted.
We play hard, we work hard, and we support others in need. Why? It's simple.
Because we care.
And welcome back to the Convocation Center, where Edinboro is leading the California Vulcans 10-7 with 11:54 to go in the half.
And so far through the first 8 or so minutes of this game, it seems to be a pretty defensive battle right now. We've seen a couple of blocks, a couple of steals between these two teams, and Vulcans just down by 3 as we get a shot right here.
And Jackie Bick nails that three-point shot, nothing but net on that one. Now Edinboro with it, tied up 10-10. It's Mason. Mason over to Merrill. Merrill with it, and a shot by Mason, misses that one, and rebounded by Richard Smith. Jakovic with it to Richard Smith, to Drew Cook. Inside to Tony Richardson. Richardson moves around, tries to get the shot away, gets called with a foul on Edinboro.
And on the other end of the ball right there, we saw a beautiful crossover by Morrow as he tried to get that open man, drew 2 defenders, but Edinboro didn't capitalize. The Falcons took it down the other way, and now we're going to see at the free throw line is going to be Tony Richardson. Of course, the freshman. See what he can do right here.
Richardson with the shot. Misses that one in and out. And that last foul was on Tommy Scales. That's his second of the game.
And Richardson 50% from the free throw line this year, so makes about every 1 and 2, obviously, doing the math, but this is the second one right there.
Still tied up 10-10. Now it's over to Baker. Baker for 2. Rebounded and missed. Tony Richardson with that one. Cook with it now. Cook to Jakovic. Jakovic gives it to Drew Cook. Cook giving directions, guarded by Chapman, gives it to Jakovic. Jakovic splitting the defenders. Now to Richard Smith, misses that one. I beg your pardon, that was actually Daniel Sapp on that shot. And inside, it's Tommy Scales for 2, but it's going to be called on a foul there. And the bucket is good. That one's against Tony Richardson.
Now it looks like Tony Richardson's going to have his second of the game right there. And of course, yeah, you're right, the basket was good for Tommy Scales as Edinboro able to take the lead right back.
Tommy Scales shooting 1 foul shot. Tommy Scales is shooting 77.3% from the foul line. Scales misses that one off the rim. Rebounded by Calvin Brown. Jakovic crosses the half-court line. Who gives it back to Brown. Who gives it to Marks. Marks to Jakovic. Jakovic driving to the rim. Makes that shot for 2 points.
And right now, it seems like the Vulcans, if I'm not mistaken, it looks like they're trying to go down low. They're trying to avoid those double teams at the perimeter and avoid the turnovers that Edinboro is trying to cause. And right now, they're doing a good job of it, keeping them even right now on the scoreboard.
Chapman with it. Resets the offense. Chapman shooting for two, fadeaway shot, nothing but net.
A beautiful shot right there by Chapman, again using that crossover fadeaway, and he did a beautiful job of that right there, pushing off California's defenders.
Now Drew Cook with the ball. Trying to split the defenders, and it looks like there's going to be a foul called against Edinboro. And this one is going to be against Jamin Mason. Subbing in for Edinboro, it's going to be a line change, and you're going to have number 23, Mike Beck, come in. And you're going to see Chibuna Ukandu. And you're also going to see Quinley Yaw back in the game. Calvin Brown with it. Looking to shoot. Goes over everybody's heads. Now Richard Smith with it. Looses it out of bounds. Edinboro ball.
Yeah, quite a line change. You're right. It seemed like a line change right there. But as Edinboro trying to kind of accommodate for the Vulcans' size, they put a bunch of their own big bodies out there, and it was able to work in their favor as they were able to get the ball right back.
Chapman with it. Gives it to Ukandu. Ukandu over to number 23, Mike Beck. Now to Chapman. Now stolen away by Armand Marks. Loses it. Picked up by Chapman. He's going for two. And a foul going to be called against Drew Cook.
And on that sequence right there, beautiful steal by Marks, something that the Vulcans are trying to probably look to do is get a few more steals, but then Chapman right all over that again as he charged to the basket and drew the foul right there.
And subbing in for Edinboro, it's going to be number 20, Quinley Yaw.
And you can take a look at Henry Wade Chapman on the free throw line, of course, from this area right around Pittsburgh, as he goes up to the free throw line, shooting at 71% this year.
And he makes the first one. And Khalil Jabby's checking in for the Vulcans for Jake Jakubic. Takes the second shot, misses that one off the rim. Richard Smith with it to Jabby. Jabby with it, over to Cook. And there's going to be a foul called. This one's going to be against Ukandu for Edinboro. That is their sixth foul of the game.
And already 6 fouls called on Edinboro, and that might play a factor later on as we go in to the double bonus and on forward for this game, because free throws right now are playing a decent factor in this game.
Now to Cook. Cook to Jabby. Jabby to Smith. Smith to Marks. Marks passes it to Jabby. Jabby takes the three-point shot, misses that one, rebounded by Sealy James. Ukandu with it. Now, Yaw for two. Misses that one. Trying for that alley-oop is Sealy James, but he misses it. Now Drew Cook with it. Falls down, and it's going to be California ball after the ball went out of bounds.
And a fast-paced sequence right there as it looks like Drew Cook was trying to go down the court. And every time he tries to charge the basket, it seems that Edinboro is doing a good job at blocking him away from the basket. And right now, California trying to find an answer, trying to get those points.
Armand Marks with it. Marks for two. In and out again. Rebounded by Quinley Yaw. Chapman with it. Loses the ball, controls it again. Jabby guarding him. Resets the offense with Chapman. Going to be a foul called against Khalil Jabby here, as he was trying to defend against Henry Wade Chapman.
I think Jabby tried to reach in to get that ball, and it looks like he caught some of the hand right there, as it's going to be our next TV timeout right here.
And we have reached our media timeout with 7:49 left. Edinboro is winning 15-12.
And we're going to take a look at the PSAC West standings. You can see where we're standing right now here, Anthony. California just above Edinboro in the standings, and right now California has quite a few teams to climb over top of right now. We got Slippery Rock, Indiana, Gannon, and Mercyhurst all ahead of California right now in the standings.
And this is a big, important game for California if they want to stay in that position. And UPJ was actually beating Slippery Rock, as you can see. You know, UPJ, if they're beating Slippery Rock, that's big. As is Gannon beating Mercyhurst. So some big upsets right now in the PSAC West.
That's right, and those losses could definitely help the Vulcans as they go forward through the rest of this season. And of course, a big matchup on Wednesday as well for the Vulcans playing at IUP. So those losses, if the Vulcans are able to pull a victory off here, could prove pretty big factor. It could be a pretty big factor as we go on through the rest of this season.
And if the California Vulcans win today, it could also be a good morale booster too. Getting that momentum going on towards the back half of the season.
And after those 2 losses that the Vulcans took, last 2 losses have been very close games, and if they're able to win one here, that could boost the morale of the team and kind of put the momentum on their side going forward against some of these tougher teams down the stretch. And
it's going to be Edinboro ball. Inbounding it is number 23, Mike Beck. Beck inbounds it to Ukondu. Ukondu now gives it to Chapman. Chapman looking for what to do. Chapman driving and gives it to Beck. Beck for 3, and he makes that 3-point, nothing but net from the far corner.
And it looks like Edinboro's just trying to dribble in close, pull in some Cal defenders, and then find the open man, which they've been doing very well of late, making quite a few 3-pointers in this game.
Jack to Jabby. Jabby to Brown. Brown to Smith. Smith for 2. Misses that one off the rim. And rebounded there by Ukondu, but Ukondu is out of bounds on that one.
And it looks like we'll have a substitution here for Edinboro, as it looks like Sheldon Brogdon is going to go into the game. And number 11, Chibuna Ukondu, is going to come out. So Vulcans hold possession. We'll see what they do here on offense.
Jakubic with it. Double teamed. Now Armand Marks with it. Marks to Jakubic. Gives it to Smith. Smith to Brown. Now to Jakubic. Jakubic for 3. Misses that one. Rebounded by Smith. Smith for 2. Misses that one. And it's rebounded there by Sam Sealy James for Edinboro. Chapman with it. Guarded by Brown. There's going to be a foul called against Calvin Brown. Got him on the arm on that one.
Right now on offense, as we watch the Vulcans on that last possession, it seems like they can't quite figure out how to break Edinboro's, I guess it's a trap in a way. They send 2 guys to the perimeter and they try to avoid getting those passes, and we'll see if the Vulcans can't do anything about that as we roll on through the rest of this half.
Beck with it, guarded by Marks. Double teamed by Marks and Brown, gives it to Chapman. 20 to shoot for Chapman. Chapman trying to shoot from the fadeaway shot, misses that one, and rebounded by Smith. Jabby. Jabby to Jakubic. Back to Jabby. Jabby now passes to Smith, who passes it over to Marks. Marks for 3 points. And he misses that one off the rim twice. Rebounded there, and just tossed by Edinboro there. Calvin Brown with it, and there's going to be a foul called against Calvin Brown, I believe.
And that was just a big scramble for the ball there as Richard Smith got that thing. It was going to fall out of bounds, and he just flipped it back towards midcourt. And that time, luckily, Calvin Brown was there, drew the foul, and he's going to go to the free throw lines. That could have been a very costly turnover for the Vulcans.
And I beg your pardon, that was actually Mike Beck with the foul there. And subbing in for the Vulcans, it's Daniel Sapp, subbing in for Armand Marks.
And once again, Calvin Brown getting the opportunity to go from the free throw line. He's had a few opportunities today. We'll see if he can't sink a couple of these here, get the Vulcans within a few more points of Edinboro.
And misses the first one, rebounded by Edinboro. Wade Chapman with it. He gives it to Yaw. Now Yaw gives it to Chapman. Chapman driving, takes a shot, misses that one off the rim. Rebounded by Calvin Brown. Jabby now. Jabby to Jakubic, back to Jabby. Jabby resetting the offense. Gives it to Sapp. Sapp to Jabby. Jabby dribbling. Gets around 2 defenders. Gives it over to Brown. Brown loses control of the ball. Got it by Quinley Yaw. Fast break over to Merrow. And Will Merrow for 2 points.
And a beautiful job by Merrow right there, getting the ball on a good play right there, so he's able to get the layup to fall, and it looks like we're going to have a timeout here by the Vulcans. They try to reset.
Yeah, Coach Brown is going to try to reset the offense here and defense. And, you know, calling that timeout definitely important for California as we look at the PSAC stat rankings.
Yeah, you can take a look at the stats, of course. California, not the highest scoring team in the PSAC. Edinboro does a good job at that at 4th in the PSAC. And then, of course, you can see the rest of them right there. It seems like Edinboro is done a good job. But we also got to wonder, Anthony, why is Edinboro not higher, doesn't have a better record if there's such a high ranking with their scoring defense, and all those other statistics?
I mean, you win some, you lose some, I guess. I mean, you can be really good in certain games, but then in other ones, maybe you lose by 1 point or 2 points, but you still play very, very well. As we see Jabby with it now. Jakibic over to Josh Dombrowski, who passes it over to Khalil Jabby. Now to Dombrowski, gives it to Jakibic. Jakibic to Sapp. Sapp to Jabby. And a foul is going to be called here against number 3, Will Merrow.
And that will send Jabby to the line, but it seems like this trap that Edinboro is playing, they're doing a real good job of defending against the Vulcans, but they are getting a lot of fouls called on them, especially for blocking as the Vulcans try to kind of work their way around the defense. So I don't know if that's going to be a factor later on, but right now, a lot of fouls, 8 on Edinboro.
Jabby with the first one. Bounces around, but it falls in. Jabby makes his first one, scored 20-13 in favor of Edinboro.
And right now that gives Jabby 3 points on the game. Of course, Jakibic leading with 5, but not anybody stepping up, getting a lot of points thus far for the Vulcans. As Jabby goes for his second attempt, that does not fall.
Misses that one. Scales with the rebound, who gives it to Chapman. Chapman over to Merrow. Merrow over to Chapman. Chapman over to Brogdon. Brogdon for 3. Misses that one in and out. And tipped and back is Brogdon, who picks that one back up. Now Merrow with it, who gets it to Chapman. Chapman. Chapman passes it into Scales. Scales misses that one. Trying to rebound that was Dombrowski. And was able to save it out as it was going out of bounds. Jabby with it now. Driving into the lane. Makes the 2 points. Great job by Jabby.
A beautiful job by the Vulcans on defense right there. They were able to hold Edinboro to not get any points right there. Sure, they had a couple of times where Edinboro retained possession, but otherwise, great defense. Didn't let them score. They went back and got 2.
Now Merrow with it. Merrow, Chapman for 2. Bounces around. Richard Smith picks that one up. Jabby over to Sapp. Sapp for 2. Bouncing around and falls in.
That's Sapp's first 2 points of the game, and right now the Vulcans are getting the bounces to fall their way, it seems. Edinboro's missing shots that bounce around, fall out of the net, and California getting the favorable bounce as they fall in, down by 3 now.
Chapman over to Merrow. Merrow to Scales. Now that's Brogdon. Brogdon for 3.
Tough break right there for the Vulcans after getting those points back. Big 3 for Edinboro. And now we'll see if they can't stop California, who's been on a little bit of a roll here on offense.
Josh Dombrowski with the ball. Over to Jabby. Jabby to Jakibic. Jakibic to Jabby. Jabby to Dombrowski. Back to Jakibic. Jakibic for 2. And he makes that one. Great shot by Jakibic on that.
Definitely a good look for Jakibic right there. He's actually leading the Vulcans in scoring with 7, so doing a good job as he had a good look. And he looks like he's seeing the basket fairly well.
Chapman trying to drive the net for 2 points, and he was able to cut through the defense there to get those 2 points. Jabby for 2 points, just out inside of that 3-point line.
Right now it's a shootout back and forth, it seems. Jakibic and then Chapman for Edinboro, and then back to Jabby. These 2 teams just shooting it out on offense here as we near the end of the half.
Dombrowski trying to block Wade Chapman on that one. He gives it to now Brogdon with it. Brogdon over to Merrow. Marrow, 2 points and a foul going to be called on number 23, Daniel Sapp.
And I have seen Morrow take those crossovers. He's done so many of those crossovers so far.
And we have reached our final media timeout of the half with 1:36 left to go in the half. Edinboro leading 27-21 here on CUTV.
NCAA Division II has much to cheer about, as nearly 100,000 student athletes compete with passion and pride. And I'm pleased to share the best news of all. Student athletes are outperforming the rest of the D2 student body in graduation rates. Just another reason why you'll hear us say with pride, I chose Division II. Learn more at d2sa.org.
With 18 institutions, my conference is the largest league across all NCAA classifications. With nearly 7,000 student athletes competing in 23 championships, my conference sponsors the most championships in Division II. With a 78% academic success rate, my conference graduates student athletes well above the national average. We compete with passion. We take pride in our efforts in the arena and in the classroom. The Pennsylvania State Athletic Conference. Passion, pride, Pennsylvania.
And welcome back to the Convocation Center, where the California Vulcans are down by 6, where Edinboro leads 27-21. And it's going to be Will Marrow shooting 1 point after he got the 2 points and the foul.
And right now, Anthony, it's pretty interesting to watch. Marrow and Wade Chapman right now, they seem to be using their dribbling skills to get the ball towards the net, and they're able to get some good shots as Marrow just gets his 5th point of the game. And of course, Wade Chapman leading all scorers thus far with 11.
Dombrowski with it. Now to Sapp. Sapp to Jakiewicz. Jakiewicz passes it to Jabby. Jabby over to Jakiewicz. Jakiewicz drops it to Dombrowski for 3. Misses that one wide of the rim. Passes deep to Baker. Baker wasn't able to get that shot away, but that was Mike Beck on that one. Misses that one. It's going to go out of bounds, and California's going to have possession of the ball.
And a quick pass up the court right there for Edinboro. Mike Beck was open, but almost lost that ball out of bounds, but he's able to find the open man, and that's what Edinboro's done. Getting those open 3 looks, even the open 2 looks, and thus far they've been able to get those points and have the 7-point lead.
And that was Jakiewicz trying to split 2 people and misses that one. Oh, a timeout, though, called by Edinboro, as Wade Chapman was all alone on that breakaway.
Tough break for Edinboro right there. They got that steal, and then their coach was calling timeout as that was happening, so unfortunate for them, they could have had a breakaway and would have gotten at least 2 out of that one to expand their lead, but nothing they can't kind of put themselves together and try to redo. But the Vulcans, I'm sure they were happy for that break.
Yeah, definitely. They don't need to be down by any more than they already are. They're trying to fight back right now. And you see Jakiewicz was trying to split 2 defenders as Edinboro was still trying to do that trap. And there you saw they were almost able to get away with the 2 points there.
That's right, they've stuck to that trap. They get 2 men on the perimeter and they challenge the first guy that comes up for the Vulcans. And they've had quite a few turnovers and points off of those turnovers because of that. And they've stuck to it, and it's been effective. And for the Vulcans, they are a very good second half team. So if they keep this score close going into the second half, it'll be interesting to see what happens going forward.
It's over to Baker, who gives it to Mason, our player to watch. Near side to Will Marrow. Marrow misses off the rim. Jabby tried to get that one, and there's going to be stepped out of bounds on that one. Now Jabby's going to be with the ball as there's a substitution. Looks like Mike Beck's coming in, as is Sheldon Brogdon for Edinboro.
Just barely out of bounds there was Edinboro's. They just, as the referee was right there too on the baseline, watched him just barely step out of bounds, and that'll give the Vulcans the ball. 30 seconds left, as it's just about 2-second difference between the shot clock and the game clock. And
there's going to be a foul called against Will Marrow as he was guarding Khalil Jabby. Now subbing in for Edinboro, number 2 Wade Chapman and number 5 Jamin Mason. And now for the Vulcans, Drew Cook's coming in for Jake Jakiewicz. as Khalil Jabby waits for his 1-and-1 opportunity.
And now Jabby getting those free throw opportunities, and the shot clock has been turned off here with 27.4 seconds left, so Edinboro could hold on for last possession if they want to, going to the end of the first half.
And Jabby makes the first one. Khalil Jabby now 2 for 3 from the free throw line tonight.
Of course, Jabby has 8 points tonight as well, and just about 83% from that free throw line as he sinks the second one. So leading the Vulcans right now with 9 points, bringing it to within a 5-point game.
And subbing in for California is Kenny Smith, number 24. And Kenny Smith subbing in most likely because of California needs defense. And here we have Jamin Mason now holding it, looking for the last shot. Mason giving directions. 10 to go. Mason attacking, and there's going to be a foul called down low. And it looks like there's going to be called against the Vulcans. Going to be 1-and-1.
And that foul was called on Daniel Sapp right there, his second of the game. So that'll give Edinboro a chance for some free throws right here. And the Vulcans have 7.6 seconds left. I don't know if it's going to be enough to get a shot off on the other side of the court, but we'll wait and see what happens. It seems there's a little bit of confusion right now on the court.
Yeah, there were some individuals that didn't know if they were supposed to come in or come out for Edinboro. Jamin Mason shooting his 1-and-1. And he makes the first one. Now subbing in, it's going to be Josh Dabrowski for California. And he's coming in for Kenny Smith.
And we'll see, too, there's another sub trying to come in for Edinboro. That might be after this shot. We'll see what happens. But Jamin Mason, that was his first point of the game, trying to get his second right here.
Mason. And misses that one, bounces off the rim. 5 to go. Jabby with it. Jabby driving. Gives it to Jackiebick. Jackiebick for 3, and misses that one off the outside of the rim. We've reached halftime here in the Convocation Center with the score Edinboro 29 and the California Vulcans 23. Stay tuned for the second half here on CUTV.
With 18 institutions, my conference is the largest league across all NCAA classifications. With nearly 7,000 student athletes competing in 23 championships, my conference sponsors the most championships in Division II. With a 78% academic success rate, my conference graduates student athletes well above the national average. We compete with passion. We take pride in our efforts in the arena and in the classroom. The Pennsylvania State Athletic Conference. Passion, pride, Pennsylvania.
We have so much to celebrate in Division II, but we're especially proud of our commitment to make a wish.
Division II student athletes have led a 10-year initiative to raise funds and help grant wishes of children with life-threatening medical conditions.
Nearly $3 million have been raised, and hundreds of children's wishes have been granted.
We play hard, we work hard, and we support others in need. Why? It's simple.
Because we care.
And welcome back to the Convocation Center in California, Pennsylvania, where the California Vulcans are down 29 to 23 at the start of the second half. And Damon, here we look at the stats thus far.
Yeah, we take a look at the stats thus far through the first half. As you can see right there, the three-point range, it looks like Edinboro has the advantage as well as in the field goal attempts right now. And they aren't getting out-rebounded, but the Vulcans are actually out-rebounding them and playing decent defense. But right now, that trap, that two-man trap at the perimeter is what Edinboro is using very well so far.
Definitely. As we see Cook giving it to Calvin Brown. Brown trying to spin away, goes for a layup, and draws the foul from Sam Sealy-James.
Not a bad way to start the second half, getting it underneath to the big man Brown, and he draws the foul. And with the Vulcans only down by 6, they just need to chip away at this lead. And even if it is with free throws, that's the way you got to do it. Then that's the way you got to do it just to get back into this game.
And, missing free throws, definitely detrimental. You have all these chances to get free points, and you just got to make them. Free throws win games, as I always say. As Calvin Brown missed the first one, takes the second one, and misses that one as well. 0 for 2 at the start of the half. Now Wade Chapman with it. Mason. And loses the ball there, but picks it back up is Sam Sealy James. Now Chapman. 10 to shoot. Chapman driving the lane, going for 2. And there's going to be a foul called against Calvin Brown there as he got Chapman going up.
Tough break right there for the Vulcans. Calvin Brown playing good defense as he was going to guard against that shot. And at the start of the half, we talked about the fouls playing a big factor in the first half. In the second half, right off the bat, 2 straight possessions, we get fouls. So it's going to carry over. It's going to be a big factor as we move along in the game, as we see Wade Chapman at the line.
And he makes his first one. Subbing in for California, Tony Richardson is subbing in for Calvin Brown. And Chapman waiting for his second shot. Takes it and makes that one.
And the team leading 13 points now for Chapman, who's been a big part of the offense. We'll see if the Vulcans decide to isolate him a little bit, as he's the only Edinboro player in double digits. He's been a big factor thus far.
Jackie Bick with it. Jabby to Tony Richardson. Richardson loses the ball, and Baker picks it up for Edinboro. Mason with it. Inside to Sealy James, and he draws the foul there against Tony Richardson as he was going up.
Once again, the Vulcans trying to play pretty physical down low, and thus far the refs are calling quite a few fouls on them down there, and it's going both ways, of course, on Edinboro's side as well, but thus far the Vulcans have 2 called on them early in this half.
Sealy James misses his first attempt.
And Sealy James, 33.3% from the free throw line, so definitely not used to being there, but he misses his 2 right here.
As it's now controlled by Jabby. Jabby pulls it back out. Smith with it. Cook inside to Richardson. Richardson loses the ball. Picked up by Mason. Mason drops it off to Merrow. Merrow for 2 as he was driving to the rim.
What a play right there by Wade Chapman. He came out of nowhere and got that ball out of Tony Richardson's hands. He came from right behind, got the steal, and Edinboro went the other way. And now it's a 10-point difference. Edinboro gaining the lead.
A 10-point game here early in the second half. As Cook with it now over to Jackie Bick. Jackie Bick over to Cook. Cook loses control of it. Picked up by Mason. Mason going in all alone by himself there, and he takes it himself and gets the 2 points. And we're going to have a timeout by Coach Brown for the Vulcans.
And that was Jamin Mason's first field goal attempt that fell here today, and the Vulcans, calling a timeout right here. Seems like Edinboro's playing pretty solid defense to open up the half. I'm sure the Vulcans didn't expect that right off the bat, and they're going to try to call a timeout and try to regroup right now.
Yeah, as we see our YouTube page here, CUTV Sports 1.
Yeah, absolutely. YouTube is one way to connect with us here at CUTV, not just for our sports broadcast, but we also have a channel for the news as well. But if you want to check out any of our latest broadcasts, or even ones from maybe a little while ago, last semester or something like that, you can check it out at CUTV Sports 1 on YouTube. I know my family and friends do like to check out the broadcasts that we do. They enjoy watching.
As do mine, because I live about 4 hours away in the east in Pennsylvania. As we see now, California University Television is on Facebook as well.
Yes, another way on social media to interact with us here is on Facebook. Just search California University Television. Give us a like on that page, and you can interact with us anyway, ask us questions, find out when we're doing shoots, anything like that. Facebook, a great way to keep interact with us here at CUTV Sports.
Yeah, definitely. Looking back at stats this halftime, one thing I noticed, we talked about California having more steals than Edinboro. Well, right now it's flip-flopped, where Edinboro has 5 and California has only had 2.
That's right. Yeah, Edinboro's doing a good job of that here to start the second half. They've gotten, I believe, a few steals already, like you said, here in this half, and that's playing a big part into their defense. And the Vulcans, we talked about trying to beat the trap. Now they got to figure out how to avoid these steals and giving up these turnovers.
And most definitely is. Armand Marks is with it now. He gives it to Jabby. Jabby and he just gets dropped there by number 3, Marrow.
That time, Jabby going very aggressively to the net, trying to get the offense going here for the Vulcans. They haven't scored yet in the half, so trying to spark something. That time, got that call, and now the Vulcans are going to have to inbound it here.
Jabby looking for someone to pass it to. Gives it to Jakubic. Jakubic gives it to Jabby. Jabby trying to go for a shot as he was blocked by Sealy James. Now Chapman going for 2, takes the layup, bounces around as there was a shot there by Marrow trying to dump it in there, but it ends up going out of bounds for the Vulcans.
And a good play right there by Marks as he was falling down. He had that ball in his hands, and he had the Edinboro player standing right in front of him. Wasn't able to tell who exactly that was, but Marks doing a pretty good job. As we'll see a substitution here. It looks like Drew Cook's going to sub out, and number 23, Daniel Sapp, going to come onto the court.
Now Jabby slowly takes it over the half-court line. Armand Marks with it now. Marks holding and passes it over to Jakubic. And there's going to be a foul called as Jakubic was going towards the net. It's going to be called against number Henry Wade Chapman.
And Wade Chapman, of course, leading with 13 points for Edinboro. And that is just the first foul called on him, so he's also been staying out of foul trouble, so good for Edinboro.
Daniel Sapp with that, making the 2-point bucket.
Having an automatic impact. Daniel Sapp coming off the bench and getting the layup, so first points of the half for the Vulcans.
This is now a 10-point game again. Sealy James over to Wade Chapman all alone, and he hammers it home for 2 points. Jabby over to Marks, now to Jakubic. Jakubic guarded by Chapman. Chapman with a little smile on his face as he's guarding Jakubic. Now Jabby with it. Inside, and going to go out of bounds against, looks like Sealy James on that one.
And it looks like on that pass it must have bounced off him as California is going to retain possession. And right now, Wade Chapman definitely feeling on the other side of the ball for Edinboro, sinking a lot of shots and leading this game in scoring, both sides of the ball.
Now Jakubic over to Smith. Smith back to Jakubic. Sapp to Smith. Smith for 2. Misses that one, in and out. As it's taken by Daniel Sapp, and he's able to get the rebound and get the 2 points there.
Good rebound control there by the Vulcans. Another bounce didn't go their way right there, but Daniel Sapp there to gather in the rebound and put up the layup, keeping it within 10.
Now Mason with it. Over to Baker. Baker inside to Mason, who gets the 2 points there. Mason came in the back door there. Now Jabby. So Smith to Jakubic. Over to Armand Marks. Marks, Sapp. Now Jakubic with it. Over to Smith. Smith going up for 2 and hits the underneath of the backboard there. Edinboro with the ball. Inside it's Baker. Baker, and it goes out of bounds. Looks like it goes out against Jakubic. As we reach our first media timeout of the first half with 15:31 to go in the game. Edinboro is winning 39-27.
Yeah, and right now it seems like the Edinboro's done a good job thus far on defense, getting a lot of steals and holding the Vulcans to just 4 points thus far this half.
And as we look at the PSAC West standings here again, you see California is in front of Edinboro, but that might change after tonight's game.
That's right. Of course, right now we know the score for the game right now. California and Edinboro back-to-back in the standings. And, of course, you see the 4 teams above California that they have to climb over top of. And right now, there was actually a couple upsets earlier on. Pitt Johnstown beating Slippery Rock, and then Gannon beating Mercyhurst. So a couple of games that helped out the Vulcans earlier on today. But right now, the Vulcans got to take care of business where they are at right now. And they also have a big matchup coming up on Wednesday against third place IUP.
And on a side note, out of the West going to the East, Kutztown and Westchester was playing today, and they are in 4 overtimes. Definitely going back and forth between those 2 teams.
Unbelievable. Yeah, we were watching that game during the halftime, and unbelievable stuff. 4 overtimes. I can't even imagine what kind of game that is out there in the East.
Definitely big here in the East. Also big here in the West as the media timeout comes to a close and both teams are making their way back onto the court.
And as we roll along here, we're already about 5 minutes into the second half. The Vulcans seem to have a different problem they got to solve now with Edinboro, making a lot of steals, so we'll see where they work on that, and a lot of good passes too by Edinboro right now. So that's playing a little bit of a factor right now as to Edinboro being up by 12.
Mason controls. Over to Baker. Baker, Chapman. Chapman trying to find a lane. And that's over to Merrow. Merrow for three. Misses that one off the inside of the rim. Marks gives it to Jabby. Jabby going to the rim. Misses that one. But there's going to be a foul called against Edinboro. So Jabby will be able to try to get his 2 points back.
Jabby looking to get those 2 points. And you said earlier on, Anthony, free throws are going to be a big part of it. And to get back into this, I'm sure the Vulcans would love to start making some of these free throws. And good guy to have up there is Khalil Jabby, of course. We talked about earlier, 83% from the line.
He's 3 for 4 for today. Taking his first shot. And he makes that one 4 for 5.
And that brings Jabby now into the double digits, leading the Vulcans with 10 points. So he also led the team in scoring, or was up there at least in the last couple of games, and once again, doing the same thing right here tonight.
Jabby takes the second shot, and he makes that one as well. As we're back down to a 10-point game here. Now it's Merrow with it. Double team there. Mason. Another double team as Mason gives it to Chapman. Now Mason with it. Over to Merrow. Merrow for 2. Misses that one as Celia James tried to get the rebound. There's a fight for the ball there as it's going to be a jump ball. And the possession arrow favors Edinboro on that one.
Unfortunate break there for the Vulcans, and that was a good contested shot right there, and good rebounding by Calvin Brown as he was able to bring that ball in. Unfortunately, the refs did not feel that the Vulcans were able to retain that, so Edinboro's going to hold on to the ball.
There's another jump ball. California will have possession though, as Chapman passes it over to Mason. Mason waits for his offense to set up. Now Morrow with it. Morrow to Baker. Baker to Chapman. Chapman for downtown 3. Misses that one off the outside of the backboard as Richard Smith with the rebound.
And a good rebound there by the Vulcans, bringing it up with speed now up the court. Oh, and Jabby losing his footing right there.
And Jabby almost looked like he tripped over his own feet there, or he struck his foot on the court and it fell down there. Not sure what exactly happened, but there's going to be a substitution here for Edinboro as number 20, Quinley Yall, comes in for Casey Baker.
Not quite sure what happened. A little bit of chippiness there at the end of that play, but it has been resolved, and it seems like the Vulcans going to retain possession. We'll see if they can't spark something here. That was a good speed bringing it up there by Jabby.
Now Daniel Sapp with the ball. Smith guarded by Yall. Marks with it. And there's going to be a foul off the ball here. And that one's going to be going against number 13, Tommy Scales for Edinboro.
That'll actually be Scales' 3rd of the night too, so he's already getting up there in fouls, so gonna have to watch out for that as we move along.
Sapp controls, gives it to Jabby. Jabby driving in and is blocked there by number 13, Tommy Scales, making up for that last foul call.
And once again, 3 men down low for Edinboro as Khalil Jabby continues to drive towards the basket, trying to get those layups to fall, but Edinboro just playing solid defense, locking it up below the basket.
And Jabby driving again, misses that one, didn't have enough mustard on that shot, but Vulcans retain possession. Sapp gives it to Jabby. Marks with it. Trying to get around Merrow, loses the ball there. Marks falls on it, loses the ball again, and there's going to be a foul there against California, it looks like.
Yeah, big scramble right there, it seems. And Edinboro's actually going to get possession back. That was a big scrum for the ball. That was bouncing around quite a bit as 4 different players, 2 from both teams, trying to get to that ball. Nobody seemed to be able to get it, but the refs do blow the whistle, and that gives Edinboro possession with 13:27 now left in the second half.
Merrow with a double team there. He's able to pass it over to Mason. Chapman for three from way downtown. In and out. And Merrow for 2 points there as he was able to get the rebound off of Chapman's missed three. Now Sapp over to Jabby. Now Jakubic over to Sapp. Sapp for three. And he misses that one off the backboard. And rebound there by Tommy Scales. Inside is Quinley Yaw. Quinley Yaw for two. Calvin Brown with the block, but wasn't able to get the rebound. And that one is going to be Edinboro, 2 points there. Jabby for two there. He was able to split through all the defenders.
That was a quick transition right there. Jabby coming right back up the court, getting those 2 points back for the Vulcans. And right now on defense, it seems they're taking a page out of Edinboro's book a little bit, doing that two-man trap at the perimeter.
And there's Merrow for two, and he drains that one. The previous Edinboro goal was actually scored by Tommy Scales. Here's Jabby with it now. Calvin Brown. Sapp with it. Jabby. Brown lost control of that one, able to give it back to Jabby. Jabby giving directions as he gives the ball to Brown. Brown trying to drive his way to the net, floating that one in there, misses that one, but rebound there by Smith, who gets the 2 points.
Good rebound there by Smith, putting that ball up. And it seems, after the first half, which seemed really, really slow-paced, not much really going on. We've got a scoring burst here in the second half as we saw about 4 field goals made back-to-back between these two teams.
And there was a nice block there by Richard Smith, and the rebound comes back to Tommy Scales, who then has it to Mason. Mason for three, and he drains that one as he was all alone on the three-point arc. Jabby. Jabby looking for something to do with the ball. Give it to Jakubic. Jakubic to Sapp. There's going to be a foul down low again. And it looks like this one is going to be against number 20, Quinley Yaw. As we have reached our second media timeout with 11:15 to go in the game. The score, Edinboro 48 and the California Vulcans 33. You're watching CUTV.
We have so much to celebrate in Division II, but we're especially proud of our commitment to make a wish.
Division II student athletes have led a 10-year initiative to raise funds and help grant wishes of children with life-threatening medical conditions.
Nearly $3 million have been raised, and hundreds of children's wishes have been granted.
We play hard, we work hard, and we support others in need. Why? It's simple.
Because we care.
And welcome back to the Convocation Center, where the Edinboro Fighting Scots are beating the Vulcans 48-33 with 11:15 to go in the game.
And it seems like Edinboro is slightly pulling away. You talked about it during the break, Anthony, in this game. They're playing solid defense right now, and game's starting to get a little bit chippy. I don't know if that's going to favor back into the Vulcans game. They are a second-half team, like we said, so there's still a lot of time left in this game. We'll see what happens.
Richardson passed it to Drew Cook. Now Jakubic. Jakubic over to Brown. Calvin Brown hands it off to Jakubic. Cook with it now. Jakubic way downtown for three and misses that one as Tommy Scales picks up the rebound for the Fighting Scots. Mason with it. Mason gets fouled on the play there by Jake Jakubic. And that's his first foul of the game, actually.
That's only the third foul, too, for the Vulcans this half. They've done a good job staying out of foul trouble, for sure, as we've gone along in this second half, not giving Edinboro too many opportunities at the free throw line.
Jamin Mason's 1 for 2 tonight as he takes his fourth foul shot. Misses that one off the front of the rim.
And Raider C. Mason missing a couple of free throws in a game. He is, of course, 89.4% from the free throw line this year. Very, very good from that position. So going for a second shot, we'll see. Can't make that one.
And he does make that one, nothing but net. As Jakubic gives it to Jabby. Jabby to Cook. Cook to Brown. Now Jabby. Jakubic with it now. Guarded by Mason. Cook with it. Now Brown. Brown trying to find a lane here. Takes a shot as it rolls in there. A little unconventional shot, but it falls in, gives California 2 points.
It doesn't matter how pretty it looks as long as you get it into the basket. Good job right there by Calvin Brown, finding the open lane and putting in that layup.
Now Jamin Mason with the ball. Guarded by Drew Cook. Mason inside to Tommy Scales. Scales passes it over to Chapman. Chapman on the near side. Holds. Guarded by Jabby. Loses control there, but Mason picks it back up. Mason for 2 points as he drains that one. Nothing but net. Now Jabby. Drew Cook. Cook to Richardson. Richardson all alone at the three-point arc. And there's going to be a foul off the ball again, as this one is going to be called against number 20, Quinley Yaw again.
And Edinboro continuing to play physical down below, getting a lot of fouls called on them off the ball underneath the basket. As it looks like we're going to have a wholesale substitution once again here for Edinboro.
And subbing in for the Vulcans is Armand Marks. As we said, Edinboro has lots of fouls. They have 6 fouls already, so if they get another one, the Vulcans are in the 1-on-1 single bonus. As Richardson has it, hands it off to Jakubic. Marks gives it to Cook, now to Jakubic. Richardson trying to spin away from Baker there. Jakubic. Cook for 3. Misses that one off the inside of the rim as Edinboro picks up the rebound.
And Edinboro starting to slow the pace of this game down a little bit. They know they got the lead. They're trying to slow it down, hold possession as much as they possibly can. And the Vulcans see if they can't try to force more steals like they had in the first half. They did a very good job at that.
As Chapman kicks it out to Tommy Scales. Tommy Scales for 3, in and out. Rebounded there by Tony Richardson. Jakubic now. Double team there. Richardson with it. And passes it over to Marks. Jakubic to Cook. Stolen by Baker there. And he gives it away to Tony Richardson. And the referee's going to have a conference here as they called something.
Yeah, I think they're trying to figure out where that ball, what was going on right there as that ball was bouncing around quite a bit. Vulcans are able to retain possession though, quite an interesting series of events as Edinboro tried to control that ball off the steal, and they were trying to keep it in bounds as well, but
it's going to be Cal Ball after the conference. Jakubic is going to be inbounding it right after Sheldon Brogdon comes in.
I guess the refs must have felt that the ball was actually knocked out of bounds by one of the Edinboro players. They were trying to retain possession there, so it results in California having to inbound it as Drew Cook has the ball right here.
And Drew Cook motions for an offense to start up as he gives it to Tony Richardson. Calvin Brown with double team there. Able to pass it over to Jakubic. And now with a shot there, nothing but net for Armand Marks. That's a 3-point shot.
Very good look for Armand Marks right there from the corner. His first points of the game, and he's played a pretty solid game all around. He just needed to get on the score sheet right there. He did just that, so good shot there for the Vulcans.
Who do with it? Gets to Mike Beck. Beck over to Brogdon. Back to Beck, stolen away by Drew Cook. Drew Cook's got to beat 2 people, and there's going to be a foul on the floor. He wasn't going up. And it's going to be against Edinboro as it's number 23, Mike Beck on the foul. I beg your pardon, it's actually Sheldon Brogdon on the foul.
And it looks like on that play, the foul happened before the shot was taken, so that's why the basket does not count. But he will get the shots after the break.
As we have reached our second media timeout with 7:42 left to go. It's 51 Edinboro, 38 Vulcans. And here we have our upcoming broadcast here on CUTV.
And you can take a look at that. Of course, we talked about it. The big one this Wednesday at IUP. That's going to be a big game for the Vulcans, a team that's ahead of them in the standings. But don't look you can look past that a little bit, but all the rest of the games are also very important. Of course, at home against Clarion next Saturday, and then moving on to the week after at Pitt Johnstown, and then at home here against Seton Hill.
And that Indiana game is actually a very big game for the women, as Indiana is number 5 in the nation. And California just dropped out, so if they were able to beat Indiana, they will definitely move up in the national rankings.
That's right. And, again, for the men, though, big games lurking ahead for them as well. Just the same thing with IUP, and then, of course, Clarion and at Pitt Johnstown.
And on the women's side, we were actually IUP's only loss this year. So that's definitely a big rivalry, big revenge game for IUP.
And not just in basketball, but every other sport. IUP is California University's rival, so looking forward to that matchup on Wednesday for both sides of the ball. Absolutely.
And back to live action. Drew Cook, it looks like he's going to be shooting a 1-and-1 here as the foul was on the floor.
And of course, Drew Cook going to the line at 71.2% from the free throw line this year. And he actually hasn't gotten on the score sheet yet, but right there he did with his first made one of the game.
Yeah, good for Drew Cook being able to get on the score sheet today with that free throw. Drew Cook takes his second shot, and he makes that one as well.
And that puts the Vulcans at 40 points, so getting to that mark. And who knows, Anthony, this could be the start of a possible comeback here with 7:38 left in the game.
Down by 11 as California's looking to press, but Baker is able to get it over to Marrow. And Jamin Mason with the ball now. Over to Marrow. Marrow blocked there by Armor Marks as it goes out of bounds off of Marks' fingertips.
Good defense there by Marks, too. It looks like that pass was intended for the corner, where it looks like, once again, Edinboro was going to get an open 3 look. So good defense right there. And we'll see if the Vulcans can't get another turnover, just like they did on that last possession, resulting in the free throw attempts.
Chapman with it. Started by Drew Cook. He gives it over to Mason. Mason waiting for something to set up. And there's going to be a foul down low against Jabby as he was pushing off of Jamin Mason.
That's actually Jabby's second of the game, but only the 4th this half for the Vulcans. So they're, like, again, doing very good job with the fouls, not taking too many of them, as Edinboro hasn't really had many opportunities at the free throw stripe.
And those fouls that California has not had yet could be actually helpful for them as the game goes on when they may need to foul. Here's Chapman with it. Guarded by Drew Cook. Chapman for the fadeaway 2. Misses that one off the backboard. Rebounded there by Calvin Brown. Jabby with it. Calvin Brown to Drew Cook. Inside to Smith. Smith going for 2. Trying to get off the backboard. No shot going to be called as Armand Marks tried to tip it in. And he's going to be called for the foul, actually, Armand Marks.
That's a tough break right there. Marks doesn't believe it, and it looks like Coach Brown doesn't either, as he's trying to get an explanation here from the refs. I'm actually quite confused as to what happened exactly. I didn't see anything that stood out to me on that play right there, as it looks like Marks was just trying to go in for the layup off of the rebound. So,
and it's going to be Edinboro ball, as that was Armand Marks' first foul of the game.
Yeah, that's a tough break there for the Vulcans. They were looking to get a surge right there on offense, and now they're going to have to go back on the defensive side of it, try to get the ball right back as they go for
as there's another foul against Calvin Brown.
Tough break, too, again, right there. Full court press time, and that's what the Vulcans have been doing. That time the ref's calling the foul. And that's 2 fouls in a row right there for the Vulcans, bringing them up to 6 for their team here this half.
That was actually Calvin Brown's 4th foul of the game. If he gets another one, he'll actually foul out. As Chapman's with it. He's able to give it to Baker. Now Marrow with it. Inside there is Samuel Sealy James for the dunk. Jabby to Smith to Cook. Marks. Over to Jabby. Cook with it. Brown throws it over to Jabby. 10 for 3. That was Cook for 3. And Marrow with the rebound. And there's a travel there going to be against Jamin Mason. So he was trying to maintain possession there.
Yeah, and it looks like that one either, they called the travel too, but it was also out of bounds as well. So that'll give the Vulcans the ball back for sure. So they have another substitution right here. It looks like Jake Jakubik's going to come back in the game for the Vulcans.
And Calvin Brown with 4 fouls is going to sit out for a little bit. As Drew Cook rolls it to make sure the time does not start until Jabby picks it up. Jabby driving to the rim, going for 2. As there's a foul called, misses the 2 points, but is able to get the foul.
And that's a good play there by Jabby. If anything, drive to the net, get the fouls called. Edinboro already has a decent amount of fouls. That's 8 right now for this half called on them, and Jabby is good from the free throw stripe, so it's fair enough. You can't get the layup, you might as well take the foul shots.
Jabby takes his first shot and makes that one. Now 41-53 in favor of Edinboro. There's 5:53 left. Jabby with 14 points so far this game, leading California today in scoring. As he takes his second shot, up and he makes that one, now with 15 points.
And good work there by Jabby, getting the opportunity and taking advantage of it, bringing him up, like you said, to 15 points, leading the Vulcans.
As there was an errant pass that goes over half court as Richard Smith picks that one up. Their full court press there finally paid off. As Jabby's with it now. Marks with it. Gives it to Drew Cook. Drew Cook. Jakubik with it, and there's going to be a foul called against Edinboro's Will Marrow there, and there's going to be 2 shots.
That's 2 shots, and if Jakubik is able to make both of these, that could cut the lead for Edinboro down to single digits. So that's a big stepping stone right there in a comeback if the Vulcans trying to mount one here with 5:36 left on the clock.
Jakubik with it. Ready to shoot his first shot. Takes it, and he makes that one. Now down by 10 as Mike Beck comes in.
And Jakubik as well is also, just like Khalil Jabby, another good player to shoot from the free throw stripe, as he's got good numbers on the season there. So trying to make his second right here, and he does. So the Vulcans have cut the lead to single digits.
As the Vulcans go back to the full court press. Tipped up in the air there. And it's going to be controlled by Edinboro. Jabby trying to steal that one. It's Mason, guarded by Jabby. Mason going to the rim, going for 2, misses that one, hits the rim. As there's a ball loose, picked up by Chapman, and he's going to be called for the travel as he picks up the ball. And Pat Cleary is not too happy about that one, as he thought Chapman did not have the ball set, so when he picked it up, he thought that was not a travel.
Yeah, definitely Edinboro's coach not very happy about that one, but California's full court press right now playing a big factor in this game, and it looks like Drew Cook, he's been playing all out lately, taking a lot of hits as of late.
Now Marks with it, Jabby for 3, and he makes that one from way downtown. 47-53, Edinboro with the lead with 4:55 left.
That is a huge three-pointer for the Vulcans as they're able to get into this game a little bit. They're making it very interesting. Down by 6 right now as we get a timeout called right here. And Anthony, it's been an amazing second half so far. I mean, we got the Vulcans coming back right now. What can you say? They're just playing good basketball here over the last couple of minutes.
And Damon, as you said, this is a second half team. You know, coming in the late second half, they really started, putting the pressure on the Edinboro Fighting Scots.
They have, and with that full court press that we've seen over the last 5 or so minutes here, at first it wasn't working out too well for the Vulcans. Edinboro was able to get the ball down, get a couple of easy baskets, but right now it is paying off. A couple of turnovers, a big three-pointer there by Jabby, as well as making their free throw attempts. That's a big part of it too, so good job all around by the Vulcans as they continue to try to come back. 4:55 left, still a lot of time.
We're talking about foul shots. Edinboro with 9 fouls, double bonus if Edinboro gets another foul called. Full court press here. And looks like there's going to be a foul against Armand Marks. That's interesting call, as Armand Marks was trying to defend against the Edinboro Fighting Scots inbound pass.
Yeah, foul off the ball right there. Vulcans playing man-to-man on that press coverage right there.
And they actually called a delay of game on that one.
And so it looks like they're going to reset right here as number 23, Mike Beck's going to inbound for Edinboro.
As the officials are conversing about what just happened.
Just trying to explain to the scores table, it seems, and right now it's giving Edinboro time to think. We'll see what they decide to do right now here.
Mike Beck inbounding it to Chapman. Now over to Mason. Mason trying to get over the line. Chapman's now with it. Beck's with it now. Over to Mason. 20 to shoot. Baker to Mason. Guarded by Drew Cook. Mason for three. Off the rim, but Baker picks it up. And there's going to be a foul against California there, as it looked like Baker was going up to shoot.
Trying to guard against Baker down low there. He picked up the rebound for Edinboro. Good job right there for him. And he was trying to go in for the easy layup. California aggressively defending that one as they're trying to keep this deficit right where it is. We'll see what Baker can do from the free throw stripe. 61.4% there this season.
Baker with the first one. Misses that one off the inside of the rim. As a substitute comes in for Edinboro, Tommy Scales subs in for Sealy James, as Calvin Brown subs in for Drew Cook for the Vulcans.
And bringing a little bit more size are the Vulcans with Calvin Brown. Casey Baker going for his second shot here.
Takes it and misses that one, bounces inside the rim. Picked up by Smith, he gives it to Jabby. Jabby over to Marks. Jabby now, trying to double team again is Edinboro. Marks with it. Marks for three, off the inside of the backboard there. Edinboro picks up the rebound.
As we move along here the last 4 minutes of this game, Anthony, if it comes down to it, remember those two missed free throw attempts by Baker.
Mason to Scales. Scales trying to shoot the ball there, blocked by Calvin Brown. Chapman with the ball, gives it back to Scales. Scales for two, and he makes those. Now Jabby over. Jabby with controlling the ball, gives it to Jacobit. Jabby driving to the rim. Doesn't get anything there as Chapman goes with it. Fast break. Over to Mason. Mason for two. Misses that one. Rebound there by number 23, Mike Beck for two. And it's now a 10-point game again. Jabby driving on the rim. And there's going to be a blocking foul called against Edinboro.
That'll be a foul call, it looks like, on Mike Beck, number 23, as they wanted a travel call right there.
As we have reached our second media timeout with 3:17 to go. It's tied up, not tied up, but 57 to 47, 10-point game here at the Convocation Center with CUTV.
NCAA Division II has much to cheer about, as nearly 100,000 student athletes compete with passion and pride. And I'm pleased to share the best news of all. Student athletes are outperforming the rest of the D2 student body in graduation rates. Just another reason why you'll hear us say with pride, I chose Division II. Learn more at d2sa.org.
With 18 institutions, my conference is the largest league across all NCAA classifications. With nearly 7,000 student athletes competing in 23 championships, my conference sponsors the most championships in Division II. With a 78% academic success rate, my conference graduates student athletes well above the national average. We compete with passion. We take pride in our efforts in the arena and in the classroom. The Pennsylvania State Athletic Conference. Passion, pride, Pennsylvania.
And welcome back. The score 57 to 47 in favor of Edinboro. And There's going to be some foul shots coming here for Khalil Jabi, as he was fouled just before the media timeout.
And Jabi has gone very aggressively to the net over these last couple of minutes. He's trying to get something started for the Vulcans in any way, shape, or form that he can. And in this case, it's going to be in the form of a free throw attempts at least. But the Vulcans are going to have to try to play good defense now here down the stretch as time is running out on them.
Jabi takes his first shot, makes that one. California is in the double bonus.
That gives Jabi 19 points on the game, looking to go for 20 points. So once again, he's doing just a fantastic job scoring for the Vulcans here in the last few games.
Second shot, and he makes that one as well. Back to the full court press for the Vulcans as Mike Beck tries the inbound in. Beck over to Scales, gives it to Chapman, guarded by Jabi. Jabi trying to double team there as Chapman gives it to Mason. Mason over to Scales. Scales for the dunk as Armand Marks slips and falls on that one.
And Marks losing his footing right there, and Scales is wide open underneath the net as Edinboro answers back quickly with those two.
Marks to Cook. Now to Jabi. Jakubic with it now. Jakubic going to the rim. Tries to float that one in there and misses that one off the backboard. Rebounded though by the Vulcans. Now Jabi. Jabi driving to the rim, going for two and misses off the underneath of the rim. Chapman now with it.
Once again, Edinboro slowing down the pace of this game right here, as you see. Chapman just staying at the perimeter.
Now Mason. Over to Scales. Now back to Chapman. Trying to run out the shot clock and the game clock as there's 5 to go. Inside. And that was Mason with the miss, with California picking up the rebound. 2 minutes to go in the game. Jakubic. Over to Armand Marks for three. Wide open. Good for three. And California takes a timeout. 52-59 in favor of Edinboro.
That is a big three-point shot by Armand Marks. Way to make that one right there. They found the open look right there. And now Cal only down by 7. So very manageable now, bringing it back to within possibly 2 or 3 possessions.
Yeah, definitely California being able to hit those three-point shots when they need to. Also, Edinboro doing a really good job of slowing down that game, as he said, being able to run down that clock, and California can't defend against that.
Yeah, on that last possession there, Wade Chapman kept it out by the perimeter, and he was able to kill a decent amount of that clock. Not what the Vulcans are looking for right now, so we'll see if they decide to get more aggressive when it comes to that, as we have 1:52 left on the clock, and it is still a very big possibility for the Vulcans to get back into this game. They can do it. They just got to execute what they got to do.
And here we go again with the full court press. Beck with it. Trying to steal is Jake Jakubic. And that one is going to go with the Vulcans as it goes off an Edinboro player.
And that's the kind of thing that we're looking for right there. Aggressive defense on the full court press. Vulcans cause the turnover, get the ball right back, and now we'll see if they can't put some more points up on the board and make this maybe even a one-possession game as we go along here.
As Sealy James and Will Merrow come in for Edinboro. Jakubic for three. Misses off the rim. As it goes off an Edinboro player. Smith with it. Jakubic now with it. Armand Marks for three. Bounces around. Smith with it. As there's a foul called against Edinboro. And that one is going to go against Samuel Sealy James. That's his second of the game.
And you can see there Jamin Mason on our monitor. He couldn't believe the foul was called right there, and that's going to give some free throw opportunities here to the Vulcans. That's going to be number 21, Richard Smith, at the line.
Bounces in and out as he misses the first one. And subbing in for Edinboro, number 13, Tommy Scales, and number 23, Mike Beck. And that was actually one of Richard Smith's first free throw misses that he's had in a few games, actually. He doesn't miss it very often. He takes the second shot and makes that one.
Yeah, he has been very good from the free throw stripe of late for the Vulcans, but it is good that he made that second one because now it is a 6-point game, so the Vulcans making this a little bit even more manageable here as we go along. Minute 34 left.
Calvin Brown substituted in. And now Tommy Scales with it. And Calvin Brown is going to foul out of the game there with his 5th foul as he fouled Tommy Scales.
And that's going to be a tough break for the Vulcans if they lose. Actually, no, that was not on Brown. That was actually on Khalil Jabi right there. Sorry for the mistake there.
Interesting call.
That is Jabi with his 3rd on the game. So Brown does stay in for the moment. And the Vulcans making a few substitutions, as is Edinboro.
Yeah, and the substitutions, I know that when the Vulcans were down here, going for the full court press, they want to do that right after they make a shot. That way they have time to set their defense up. As Tommy Scales takes his first shot, and he makes that one. Now 60-53 in favor of Edinboro.
And these free throws are huge for Edinboro. If Scales is able to sink this one, kind of keep that lead right where it is, and makes it a little bit easier for Edinboro to hold on.
As he misses that one, bounces in and out. Jabu now, over the half-court line. Jakubic, now to Jabi, over to Cook. Cook for 2, and he makes that one. A minute 16 with a timeout by the Vulcans. Down by 5 are the Vulcans here with a minute and 16 left.
Yeah, they seem to be keeping it very close here as we go down the stretch, but just not able to get over that last little hump, trying to make it within 1 or 2 points here. We'll see what the game plan is. I'm sure that's why they called the timeout here. They're going to set something up with this minute 15 left on the clock and try to get some open looks and sink those shots.
This is actually the closest the Vulcans have gotten to tying the game in a very long time, actually. They're only down by 5.
That's right. You saw in that last possession, too, Drew Cook finding a lane, getting an open look at the net. So if the Vulcans are able to do that as well, without killing too much time off the clock, you want to avoid the turnovers, try not to kill too much of the clock, and get those open looks, because you get those easy 2s. They're going to add up as you go down the stretch, and before you know it, you could be tied with Edinboro.
And if Edinboro gets across that half-court line, the Vulcans are going to have to foul, because Edinboro's going to want to run the clock down. And actually, they're going to foul right now as Armand Marks fouls.
And this situation, never too early to foul right there, so good idea by the Vulcans right here.
Good idea, but might be the wrong guys. He's 89.4% from the free throw line, is Jamin Mason. And you're only down by 5. I don't know about that call about trying to foul now. Maybe they're trying to get the ball back off of these free throws.
And I'm sure they're trying to figure some way at least to keep this game right where it is. I'm not sure if fouling is the best idea, you're right, but that's what they're going with right now, and we'll have to wait and see how it plays out here.
Our player to watch, Jamin Mason, taking his first shot, and he makes that one. Now down by 6 with a minute and 15 to go.
That gives Jamin Mason 12 here on the day, as we have about 4. We have 3 Edinboro players in the double digits right now.
Mason with his second shot as he makes that one as well. Jabi over the line. Jakubic with it. And there's going to be a foul against Edinboro there. And that's going to be Wade Chapman's foul.
Yeah, that's going to send Jakubic to the line right here, so he'll get the opportunity to get the points back here for the Vulcans after they fouled earlier on. So going to be a back and forth, it seems like, foul game here for both teams.
And that's Wade Chapman's 4th foul today, as Jakubic gets ready for his first of 2. Takes it, bounces around, but it falls in. Subbing in for Edinboro, we have number 23, Mike Beck, and again, Tommy Scales.
We'll see here, Jakubic going to go for his second attempt, and we'll see if the Vulcans go ahead and foul right off the bat once again, knowing what happened last time when they got 2 free throws. The Edinboro was able to make both of them, so we'll see if they stick to that game plan or not here going forward.
As Marks checks in for Jakubic. Now Mason with it. Mason, Baker's all alone. Makes the easy layup.
That's actually Casey Baker's first 2 points of the game as well, so getting on the score sheet.
Jabi misses off the backboard. Jabi now with it again. 50 seconds left. Jabi for 2. They need a foul. They don't want to foul Mason, but they're might have to there as Mason passed it over to Baker. Baker all alone again as he makes the easy layup. Richard Smith with it now. Now Jabby. Jabby to Cook. Cook for three. And it bounces off the rim as Baker picks up the ball with 30 seconds left. Baker gets the ball stolen, and he picks it back up as the Vulcans lose the ball there.
And that was a quick change of pace right there as both teams going up and down the court here near the end of the game, both just trading blows with the points, but that full court press of the Vulcans didn't work out those last couple of times as Baker was able to get a couple of easy layups to keep Edinboro ahead, and that last foul actually was called on Khalil Jabby. He now has 4, and he's the Vulcans' leading scorer in this game. And if Edinboro is able to hang on right here, this could drop us out
of the PSAC tournament.
Yes,
that's right.
yes.
At this present time, if Edinboro wins, it could drop out of those rankings there. As Baker makes his first one.
And Baker all of a sudden didn't have any points all the way up to these last 2 minutes, now has 5, and Edinboro continuing to expand their lead. They now have an 8-point lead, and Baker's second attempt falls, make that 9.
And with 25 seconds left, definitely very hard as Jabby takes a 3 as it misses the rim. Now Armand Marks for 3 as he misses that one off the rim as well. Mason with it over to Chapman with 15 to go. Chapman holding the ball as time is expiring with 5 seconds left. With the score 68-59, the Edinboro Fighting Scots will defeat the Vulcans 68-59.
And another tough loss for the Vulcans. They were coming back here near the end, not as nearly as close as some of the last games that we've seen for the Vulcans, but they put up a good effort. Edinboro was just able to hang on to that lead they built up from the first half to win it here tonight.
Yeah, Edinboro played well. The Vulcans played well. Edinboro obviously played just a little better than the Vulcans. Tune in next time for our next broadcast at Indiana, Pennsylvania, where California takes on IUP February 4th at 7:30. You've been watching a CUTV's men's basketball broadcast. I'm Anthony D'Agostino for Damon Madsen and Gary Smith, our director and producer, and all our CUTV Productions crew. Have a great day, everybody.
Here, we've been back on the mainland.